Hey there everybody, welcome back to another Stardew How To. Today we're going to do how to construct and upgrade farm buildings. And we might as well start up here outside Robin's Carpenter shop because that's where we're going to be for a lot of this episode. Just as a reminder, Robin's Carpenter shop is open every day other than Tuesday from 9 till 5, apart from Friday when she closes a bit early at 4 o'clock. So let's head in and see Robin. To construct farm buildings, we're going to visit the shop area and click on the construct farm buildings option. Now, if you've been watching some of the other videos, then we've already looked at the coop and the barn, which you can go back and check those out if you need to. So today we're going to look at other things that you can get from Robin for your farm. First, we've got the well. I should say to scroll through these, we're using these arrows. This might be different if you're on console. I don't remember, or it might still just be that you can click here. So the well is a place to refill your watering can, and it takes 2 days. Next up is the silo. The silo is pretty essential if you want animals on your farm. It allows you to actually cut your grass and store it as hay. If you've not got a silo, then the grass you cut is just going to waste. You cannot get the hay without the silo. The silo is a little bit more pricey to buy with needing some copper bars, but by the time you need it, you should really have that. And again, it's 2 days to build. Next up is the mill. The mill can turn wheat, beets and rice into other products, namely flour, sugar, I think it is for beets, and rice is turned into milled rice. It costs just a little bit, and of course some cloth, which is a little bit later on in the game if you aren't lucky. Next up, we've got the shed. This is just an empty building, and you can put it anywhere you want basically, and you put loads of machines and all sorts of things inside. You can also decorate the inside, as it says. Next up, very important, is the fish pond. If you've got any interest in having fish, then you're going to need some fish ponds. I often have several fish ponds on my farm. If it's just for stocking up on some fish that I've caught and want to make sure I have some to give to people, or for getting the rewards that you can have for breeding the fish. We can probably dive into fish ponds in a little more detail in its own episode, but for now we can see that the fish pond is going to cost you a bit of money, some stone and some seaweed and algae just to get it all set up. And again, it's another 2-day build. This one is a cabin which is designed to help with your multiplayer. If you made a single player world and you decide you want to turn it into a multiplayer world, you're going to need some cabins, and there are various different options for how they look. You can scroll through those and select which one you want. Some of these I haven't seen before. I did not know you could have a trailer. That is quite neat. So yeah, and they're pretty cheap because really they should be included when you set up the game with multiplayer. You can have those for free. This one is fairly new to the game. This is an additional pet bowl, so you can have extra pets. And again, you can change the appearance of this, just a few different options. Here we have the stable. The moment you build a stable, you're going to get a horse to go with it. Well, once it's built. It takes 2 days. It's a little bit expensive, but fairly early on, the horse is a pretty good way to get around. Here you can get yourself a new shipping bin. If you for some reason have the urge to have a second shipping bin somewhere, this is what you want. It's an instant build, it's pretty cheap. There's no reason not to do this if you want one. Right, now we're really getting into some proper endgame stuff. This creepy thing is the slime hutch. Here you can breed slimes for yourself. This one definitely needs its own video at some point. It's pretty expensive, and we can go through that another time, but just so you know, this is where it is if you want to build it. And now we're on to upgrades. Now this one is a coop upgrade. It is telling you up here that you need a coop already built. You would need to select this as build and then select which coop you want to unlock by just clicking on it, and then that will get upgraded. You can still use the coop while it's being upgraded, but it will take 2 days until it becomes the bigger size. The bigger coop comes with an incubator, which means then you can hatch the eggs that you've got from your animals or from other places, and they will be animals inside your coop. You can take up to 8 animals now inside this coop as well, and it also unlocks ducks over at Marnie's. Similarly, we can have the big barn. It needs a regular barn to upgrade. I should note that these upgrades don't use any more space on the outside, but they do make them bigger on the inside. Again, you just resources. It takes 8 spaces now inside and can give you goats, and you just build it, select your barn you want to upgrade, and wait 2 days. This also now allows your animals to have baby animals. So if you want little baby cows and goats running around, this is one you need. And here we have the deluxe coop. It shows you up here that you need a big coop on your farm in order to upgrade to the deluxe coop. You can't upgrade straight to the deluxe from the normal one. The deluxe coop has 12 spaces. It adds an auto feed system, so that hopper which would take hay from your silo, it puts it straight onto the bench for your animals. You don't have to go and top it up, which is really great when it gets to the winter. You can now have rabbits in your coop as well. It takes 2 days to do the upgrade, but just like before, you can use the coop all the time. It takes exactly the same amount of space, and this is the resources that you will need. And here is the deluxe barn. Similarly to the deluxe coop, you need the big barn in place. It has 12 spaces, has an auto feed system, and this unlocks sheep and pigs. It takes 2 days, and here's the resources that you require for that as well. And here is the big shed. You need a normal shed on your farm already built. To have the big shed, it doubles the size of the interior and takes 2 days to build with these resources. Okay then, let's take a look at some of these buildings actually on the farm, shall we? First, let's look at the well. The well takes up a 3x3 space on the farm, and you can place it pretty much anywhere you want, though I wouldn't place it too close to water since its main use, other than being really quite lovely to look at and just to have around as decoration, which is what I usually use it for, is for refilling your watering can. You can just come up and use it as if you were refilling from a little pond or something. This great big thing here is a silo. It is only a 3x3 base, but it's very, very tall, and it's going to hide whatever's behind it. You can't actually do anything other than check how much is inside it. It stores 240 pieces of hay, and that is all you can do with it, but there it is. But what's important is now you can use that to cut your grass and get hay stored inside it. The shed is a pretty big building. It is 7 wide and 3 deep, but if you do put it in front of something, because it is quite tall, you can still see behind it as it can go sort of partially invisible. If we come round, we can actually get inside the shed and have a look. This is the standard size of the shed, and you can place all sorts of things in here, be it a lot of mayonnaise makers or whatever you feel you need more space for can go in here, even if it's just a whole load of chests for storing more stuff. This lovely building here is the mill with its lovely animated windmill going around the top. You will need to make sure that you can get to the front and to the bin on the side, as this is here where you would put any items you want in, and make sure you put in like full stacks and things rather than one item at a time, because that's just going to take you even longer to do, and you have to keep coming back and picking up what's ready. The mill is 4x2, so not very big, but again it is another very tall building, so probably good to put it somewhere with something like a big cliff behind it. This is the fish pond. It's 5 by 5, so not small, but it is very useful. There are a few little tricks to the fish pond. Firstly, you're going to want to put fish in it. Come over and just throw your fish in. But now you have no clue what's going on. So take yourself a sign, click on the pond, and now you can see what fish is in there and how many. This is like the best thing ever. Other things you can do with the fish pond is click on it to see how many fish are in it and what type, and in case you can't remember what that picture is, you've got all the information there. You can also empty the pond from here. You can also change the appearance of the fish pond by clicking on it, but it's very hard to see and can't really make it easy for you to see, but it changes the decorations along the back. And if you want to take out just one fish, you can fish in your fish pond and you won't have to do the little mini game, you'll just catch one fish. This building is the stable for you to have a horse in. It is pretty small, only 4 across and 2 deep, and it comes with a horse. So bonus there, your horse doesn't actually really need looking after as such. It's not a farm animal, it is just a good way for you to get around quite a lot faster, but make sure that you don't try to go through small gaps because the horse is just a little bit on the wider side. And this is how an upgraded coop looks. This is the big coop. If we see on the outside, it takes up the same amount of space. It does look a little bit bigger, and if we go inside, it is a lot bigger. And this is what happens if you don't collect your eggs, but it's a good example. Let's grab an egg and come over to here. This is the incubator. We can just take an egg and pop it in, and you'll know that there's an egg in there waiting to be hatched by doing this, and one morning it will just hatch. And here we have the deluxe cube. Again, same size on the outside. We've lost that little outside pen area, so it does look a lot bigger. And inside we've got this huge space. We've got the incubator still. We can still pick up hay from here as long as there isn't any on the bench already, and there is the 12 spaces all along that will get topped up automatically. And this is the upgraded big barn. It looks a little bit bigger, but it doesn't actually take any more space because we've lost the crates down the side and things. But if we go inside, it is a lot bigger, and you can see that there's a lot more room, and now 8 spaces for animals in here as well. There's no extra items in the barn, but it does mean now that your animals can get pregnant and have babies. And if you don't want to have any baby cows, for instance, you can come along and see your cow, and you can turn that off by clicking on this little bit here. Here is the deluxe barn, just that little bit bigger again. And if we head inside, it's a lot bigger on the inside, with the auto feeder system along the back here. We'll put hay from your hopper here and your silo straight on the bench for your animals. And this here is the big shed. Basically, it's like the same size as my house. If we go inside, it's absolutely huge. If you filled this with machines and chests, you probably got enough going on to last you your whole lifetime on the farm. Okay, there's just a few more things we need to look at before we finish up for this one, and for those we need to go see Robin again. We come along and chat to her and have another look in the construct farm buildings tab. We can see that there were some more options down here. We've been using this build option, but there's plenty more to look at. The first one is paint buildings. So we click on that, we are then taken to this overview of the farm with different buildings that we can actually paint. Now you can paint the farmhouse once you've upgraded it a bit. You can also paint the biggest size of the shed, the big shed, the biggest size of the barn, the deluxe barn, and the biggest coop, the deluxe coop. Let's click on building and see what we can change. So we are able to change the building colour itself. We can change the roof, And we can change the trim, which is the doors in this case. And if we decide we don't like any of that, we can reset them back to what they were by using this little dotted box here. And if we do have a colour that we really do like, we can save it using this button, so we can use it on all of our buildings and have them match. When we're done, you can select the option down in the bottom corner here, if you can't quite see it, to go back to the menu. The next option we've got is the Move Buildings button. We can literally pick any building, pick it up and move it about. But be careful, if for instance there's an animal in the way, you will not be able to put the building down. This also applies to things that you didn't put down, such as the shipping box and your house. Your house can be anywhere you want it to be on your whole farm, but you must clear space from trees and rocks and things first. The next option is the Demolish Buildings button. Use with caution. You cannot demolish your farmhouse, but you can demolish any building that you have placed yourself. Just remember to be careful when demolishing your buildings, because you won't get any of the resources or money that you spent to build them back when they're gone. And the last button along here just closes the menu. I don't know why there's two buttons for it, but that's what that one does. Right, and that's about it really. Hopefully that's given you a really good intro into constructing buildings and upgrading buildings on your farm. As always, if you've got any comments or other ideas that you want videos on, please leave a comment, or even if you just like the video, leave a comment and a like, and I will see you for the next one. Bye then.